Hey, what's up guys? This video is one of the most requested videos here in my channel. So this video is to talk about how to use multiple router outlets in your application. So rather than me talking about it, let's get started. First of all, I have created an application here using the NG CLI tool, Angular CLI tool. It's nothing, just a bare bones application. So let's get started, and first of all what we are going to do here is maybe we'll have a nav bar, and then we'll have two screens. So we'll navigate from one screen to another. Those two screens, obviously the nav bar's function would be to enable us to navigate from the first screen to the second one, and in the second one we'll be using another router outlet or a couple more router outlets, and let's see what happens. So first of all, let me just go ahead and create a few components like ng generate component. This will be our initial component. Okay, and then component home and second component. We'll also have two more children components. So not exactly children, they are components as well, but we'll be using them, accessing them using child roots. Let's see how that works. So first child, and then second child. Okay, so we have four components now in our application. Let's go ahead and wire up our application, or let's go ahead and create the roots first. So I'll just create a new file, app.routing module.ts or app.routing.ts. We'll just shorten app.routing.ts. Okay, here it is. So in this we'll just go for the usual thing, import ng module from Angular /core. Then what we'll do is roots, obviously import roots module from Angular /router. Okay, and the next one would be our components, right? The components which we created this one. Okay, this is done. So we'll create a console. This is the usual thing which we did, which we saw previously in our routing videos, right? So exactly we are following the same steps. Roots, this will be roots, an array, and inside this we will be writing the path and the configs. So path, first one will be blank one, and then we'll simply be using a redirect to, and then we'll name the component here, and then path match should be full for this, right? So full. Okay, and then comma path home. For this the component would be component would be home component, and then path what is second for this the component will be second component. Okay, and inside the second component we are going to have two children roots. So we just give a comma there, type children, and this will again be an array. Okay, so in case you haven't worked with children roots, this is how you do it. This will again be an array, and this array will have a similar configuration to the two paths which we have written here. So here what it will be is path first child, and the component will be first child component, and the outlet. Here you should mention the name of the router outlet. I'll tell you where this comes from. So for now just we'll have it as a first child. Okay, and we need one more path, right? So we'll copy this and paste it. This will be outlet will be second child, and this will be second child, and this will be second child. Okay, this is done, and we need to obviously add the general things such as the decorators ng module, and then inside this we'll have the imports and exports, right? Imports router module dot for root, it should be roots. We are passing the constants, and then it will have an exports. Exports will be the obviously router module, and the providers will be nothing. Then we'll be exporting as routing module. Okay, so very simple. This is general, right? You would obviously know the syntax of writing a ng module. That's exactly what we are following here. So this is our routing structure here for our application. We are having two roots, the home and the second root, and the second has two children, the first child and the second child. So let's see how we wire this up in our application to different screens. So before I start with the screens, let me just for the navbar I'll just make use of a library called Angular to materialize. You might have already seen this if you had seen my material design in your desktop apps or some other app. I have used this materialize CSS framework extensively. Now this library allows us to use it directly from our Angular 2 application in a pretty much easier way. So let's see how to do that. First of all, just scroll down to the last, and in the last they have given it for Angular CLI Webpack, right? So we'll just follow these steps. First of all, install it, sorry, and then install Angular 2 materialize as well, and then install jQuery, which is a dependency for these Angular 2 materialize to work. While jQuery is installing, let's go ahead and add these things in our script file. The scripts array in the cli.json file. Here we have the scripts, right? So I'll add those, then just and what else? We need to import the materialize mode that we'll do later. We need to add this in index.html. Copy this, go to index.html, add that. Okay, and then add this in our global styles file. Styles file is here. You can add this, and then you just need to import materialize module in order to start using Angular to materialize in our application, right? So we'll just copy this again, and then get into our app.module.ts file, paste it here, okay, and then add it into our imports. So materialize module, okay, this is done as well. So if jQuery is installed as well. So let's just go ahead and the routing file we have written. We'll just now go ahead and make a navbar in our a navbar in our first home page. Okay, the home is the one we are going to show to the user in the first, when the app loads, right? So I'll click on home, get into home.component.html. It is right now it's showing some homeworks or something like that. So what we'll do is actually we won't be, I think, getting into home on the first try. We'll be getting into app.component.html, right? We need to give the router outlets here. That's what we need to be doing. So we'll get into app.component.html, and this is where we should be giving the navbar. So from here we will give a navbar under router outlet below it. So if the user wants to navigate to some page and then he clicks on that link, that page will load below the navbar, so that the navbar is constant among all the pages. So yeah, that's the common thing in all the applications, right? Nothing new in there. So let's write some code. Okay, I'll remove this first of all, and then I'm pretending as if I know the code exactly for all the classes for a navbar, but in reality I don't know it. Materialize CSS, deleting here, and then I'll get into CSS components, whatever, components navbar. Okay, we'll use this navbar. We'll take this, paste it in our code, save this, and then remove these two links, or remove just one link, and then from here we'll first have the router outlet. This is the main router outlet, guys. So router outlet / router outlet, save this. Instead of this, what we are going to do is we are going to give a link to our second let me show you. So as usual, the general thing in order to wire up a router is write a router link. Router link equal to here you need to pass in an array. So first what I'll do is I will give the path second. Okay, now I need to also specify how I need to like specify the links for router links for the children routes as well, right? So I'll just close this, give a comma here, and then inside this what did I name the first child route? The first child route I named it as first child, and the second one as second child, right? So I'll get in here and then give a comma here, and inside the bracket I'll just outlets first child will be first child, and this will this is not first child, I guess. Let me just check it out once more. Yeah, this is first child. Path is also first child, and the outlet is also first child. Okay, first we need to give the wait, let me take that up. So this first child corresponds to this one, guys, the name of the outlet, and we need to specify a path or a component which needs to be loaded in that particular outlet, right? So in our case that will be what's the path? That also will be first child. So I'll give first child. Okay, and then what else? Don't confuse this. Maybe I'll just change it. First child component. Okay, first child comp and second child comp. Okay. So this first child comp is what I will be giving here now. And then we have one more router outlet, that is our second child, and I will be giving second child. Okay. Yeah, that is done. We'll just close the brackets, close this as well, and then close this. You got it, right? I hope you understand. We are just passing in the path here, which is nothing but the path of our second screen here, and that has two child components, right? So we need to pass in values for those as well. So for the first outlet, we are passing in the first child component, which corresponds to this component, and the second outlet we are passing in the path of this, which corresponds to this component. So let's just go ahead and make those two outlets in the second screen, which will be displayed. So I'm getting into second.component.html, and I'll remove this. and instead of this I'll just give router outlet name equal, we are just naming it, okay, name equal to first child, and then close this, have another router outlet name equal to second child, okay. We are closing this as well. So we have now two router outlets inside the second screen which we are going to show, and then both the router outlets we have given names as first child and second child, and both will correspond to different components. So let's go ahead and see if this works actually. So what we'll be doing is, let's just run this. If any errors comes, we can fix it later. Why is this? Oh, okay, so I didn't give, oh, that's a big mistake, guys. app.module.ts, I need to give the, I didn't give the root configuration file at all. So import routing module from what was that, app.routing, routing, and I'll add it up to our import so that also gets recognized. So routing module, now I guess that error will vanish. Okay, it's building. Yeah, it works fine, right? So now if you notice, we have nav bar, very simple nav bar, and then two pages, dummy and second. Dummy corresponds to nothing. So in our router outlet, the logo, the text home works gets displayed because inside the home.component.html, this is the one that's given, and our default route is configured in such a way that we are always redirected to the first page, home page, when the app loads. So now if we click on second, you can see that it is showing first child works and second child works, right? Why is that happening? Because once we get into our second component.html, we have two router outlets corresponding to first child and second child. So the pages corresponding to first child and second child will get loaded in those respective router outlets. First child.component.html as first child works. We'll maybe change this to something else. And the second child will have second child. So essentially what we have done here is we have created two multiple router outlets in the same application, and then one router outlet is mainly used for how do I say, one router outlet is mainly used for the main navigation, and the second route and the other router outlets are given specific names, and then those router outlets are used inside another screen, used inside a specific screen to create multiple views in the same screen, which are independent of each other. So you might ask me, what's the use of this, Raja? What specific practical use do we have in our app building thing? So sometimes you might have come across views that views in the same page that needed to be loaded based on a particular view, right? Based on a particular action in another view. For example, let's consider chat. Usually the names of the people whom you want to chat will be on the left side of the screen, and the right side will have a pertaining chat window. When you click on the name, then the right side window will automatically change, and you start typing so that you are chatting to that specific person. So when you click on another name, that right side window should automatically match the person whom you have just clicked, right? It should not be keeping on showing the other guy. So that can be done very easily if we use this multiple router outlets. It's an optimization technique, guys. We are using more router outlets and more child routes, and then it's like an optimization technique so that the routes get loaded faster. The views get loaded faster in the same page. So maybe I'll just even show you an example. I have just overloaded you guys with information, I guess. I just spoke on continuously. So rather than that, I'll just show you an example of how an action in the first child can be made to reflect in the second child component. So this will be a very dummy example. So I'm just showing that to show that it can be done. So what I'll do is maybe have two buttons in the first child, and when those buttons are clicked, the value will change in the second child. Okay, so open up first child component.html. Wait, I'll just open up my code. First child component.html, and then here I'll add two buttons. First button, if you click, it will show call first. Okay, a simple function which I have written maybe, and it will show one, and then button. And copy this, paste it again. This will be 2. Okay, and then this will be call second. Okay, very simple code. We are just having two buttons, and those buttons are wired up to functions in a first child or component.ts, which we haven't written yet. We'll write them now. So here what I'll have is let's make use of a simple values. Okay, values, and then call first will be having this dot value equal to 1. Values, right? This dot value is equal to 1. We are just going to be passing one value, so I'll just give value. No need of the plural form. Okay, value. And then what it will do is it will navigate to the second router. So this dot router dot navigate. Keep in mind that we are navigating inside the same screen, guys. We are not navigating outside. I mean, from the using the parent root. We are wait, I'll show you guys. I'm pretty much sure that I'll confuse you guys if I just keep on talking like this. So navigate. Oh, router we haven't yet imported. Import. There's a puppy screaming outside my house, I guess. It's a lot of noise. India is always noisy, guys. That's why I mostly choose to record my videos during the night time. Even during the night time. From rectangular/router. Okay, so we'll be making use of this private router. Yeah, router.navigate. We'll be having the same parent root, so second, and inside this what we'll have is outlets. The same syntax which we followed in the while we wrote for the router link from the home not home app.component.html, if you remember. So outlets, this will be again we'll specify what was that, second, right? Yeah, second child, I guess. So second child will be having like this dot value. Okay, I'm just passing a value in this. Copy this, paste it here. Instead of call first, use call second. Instead of value 1, use value 2. Instead of second child, no, this is same. This is almost same. Yeah, okay. So we just have two functions, and those functions will set this dot value to 1 or 2. It's a dummy function, and then it will try to navigate to the second root. Okay. So now we'll go to second child.component.ts, and then we'll be reflecting the value of the value based on the click in the first child. So what we'll be doing here is we'll modify this in order to receive that value. So now that we are navigating from the first child to the second child based on the click, we can make use of the activated root, right? You might have come across this when you watched my video on authentication in Anglo 2, guys. If not, kindly watch it. It's a good video. I shouldn't promote my videos myself, but anyway, Angular/router, and then we'll make use of this here, private root, and this will be our activated root, right? Activated root, and then inside ng on init I'll simply write this root params, since that will be passed as a parameter. You can obviously understand that, right? We are passing it as a parameter. So okay, maybe we'll change it here too, so that you will instead of second child comp it will be id. Okay, and here in app.component.html, instead of this we will just pass in okay. So yeah, first child.component, where were we? Second child.component, right? Second child.component.ts root.params subscribe. This is an observable, you can just subscribe to it. So subscription, we'll just values, and value will be a number, right? We are passing it either 1 or 2, so number, and then what else? This dot current value equal to values dot id. Very simple piece of code. Okay, current value. Okay, very simple piece of code. We are just getting the value passed in the parameters of the URL, and then we are trying to display that. That's all. So here I'll go and then have h1 what was it? Current value /h. Okay, very simple piece of code. We are just having two buttons. Based on the click of the button, a value will be passed, either 1 or 2, and then here we are getting that value from the URL and then displaying it. That's all. Okay, so let's see how this changes our application now. Okay, now if you click on 1, it changes, right? That's because, you get my point, right? I'll just even remove this. First child, let it be. Second child.component.html, I'll remove this. Okay. Now you can see my point, right? If you click on 1, it's 1. If you click on 2, it's 2. You get my point, right? Based on if you understand how the code works behind this, you can see the URL. That will be a better thing, I guess. If you see the URL, based on the click, the ID is getting passed, right? Here I have given it like that. app.routing.ts, I have given path ID, right? The colon ID. So that's what exactly happens here. Second child, colon ID. Second child is here, the router outlet. And then outlets we gave there, right? So the ID is passed. And then whatever the ID is passed, I have just where is it? Whatever the ID is passed, I'm just using activated root and getting the parameters from that, and then assigning it to a variable called current value. That current value I'm displaying it here. So based on the user action on a set of buttons in the first child, which is separately a concept, an independent component, the value in the second component, the second child component, changes dynamically. So you understand what I'm trying to say here, right? So if you have like a set of tweets or set of bubbles displaying titles of tweet in the first child component on the left side, and then whenever the user clicks on like a particular tile or a particular bubble, and you want to display the rest of the tweet on, or display details about the tweet on the right side, you can just make use of the named multiple router outlets, and then whenever the user clicks, you can display whatever the user wants on the other screen without reloading the entire screen, right? Other part of the screen without reloading the entire screen. So this is how multiple router outlets can be used in in your application to make it easy for you to like display different screens, different views inside the same screen, guys. So yeah, guys, this I felt it was like a fancy concept in Angular 2. This is actually not a concept, this is a technique, I would say. Using the children roots in the router module, we are trying to achieve such a wonderful functionality in our application. I I'm going to be honest with you guys. So I learned this entire concept from a site called onehungrymind.com. I'll link that site below in this video. So you guys could obviously take a view at that site as well. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you guys today. Hope this helped you guys. If you felt this video was helpful, kindly share it with someone else. Share it with your colleague or something, and then try to help them too. If you really like this video, kindly hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up button so that it would be some sort of appreciation to me. And then so kindly subscribe to watch more cool videos like this, guys. Just subscribe, it's free, right? So just subscribe to watch more fancy stuff like this in Angular 2 or Ionic 2. I was also planning to do a series on neural networks, so yeah, stay subscribed, more cool stuff are on the way. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.